Hey, I'm Jake, and today we're going to focus in on hip openers. Come onto your mat. Start in tabletop. Your hands and knees with your wrists straight across your mat and under your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Today, tuck your toes under. As you inhale, arch your back, look forward. Exhale, round your spine, look towards your navel. A couple times like that. And with your next in-breath, find a neutral spine and pelvis and step back for down dog. Okay, down dog. If you haven't already, slide your feet back another 2 to 3 inches from tabletop. Feet inner hips width apart. Bend your right knee deeply. Swivel your heels right to your left heel, roots on the floor. And swing your right leg in front of and across your left. For a twisted dog, flatten your hands, arms straight. Lift your left hip up as high as it'll go. Okay, come on back to center. And second side, bend your left knee deeply. Turn your heels left till your right heel roots. And swing your left leg across your right. And lift your hips up and broaden the whole right side of your body long. Okay, bring it back to center. Bend both knees enough to get your low back to lift. And inhale, come to the balls of your feet. Exhale, bend your knees, step or walk to the top of your mat. Okay, feet straight, inhale, lift halfway up, legs straight, hands on your hips, shoulders set back. And come up and stand. Okay, feet, hips width apart, 2 fists width apart. Bend both knees deeply, hands to your thighs, set your hips back. And reach your arms up. For chair pose, exhale, sit heavy. Keep your chin lifted. Okay, inhale, stamp your feet down, straighten your legs, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Touch the floor in front of you. Inhale, halfway up, legs straight. Get tall enough to feel an extension in your back. And exhale, hands to the mat. Plank pose, step back. Legs strong, keep this plank shape. As you lower down for low plank. Lower your hips to the floor, point your feet for cobra, flatten your hands. Pull your chest forward as you come up. And exhale, down dog, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back. Hey, inhale, stretch your right leg straight back, one-legged dog. And stack your hips like half moon. So you stack your right hip on top of your left. Go with the straight right leg today. Flex your right foot. Then look more under your left arm. Lift your left shoulder up even with your right. And exhale. Step your right foot to the outside of your right hand for lunge. Okay. Bend your front knee right over your ankle. Back foot's vertical. Power up your back leg. Okay, bring your hands forward and wide like goalposts. Root your right heel heavy. So heavy, your toes could lift up off the mat. And scissor square that right hip back. Okay, hands underneath you. Step back, down dog. And second side, inhale. Reach your left leg back. And stack your hips like half moon. And look more under your right arm. Lift your right shoulder up, even with your left. And exhale, swing your left foot to the outside of your left hand for lunge. Okay, take your hands forward and wide, like goalposts. Power up your back leg. And root your left heel heavy. Scissor square your left hip back. So far as that left knee doesn't turn in, you can bend your elbows wide. Okay, watch that right knee doesn't bend or hammock. Okay, walk your hands back underneath you. Step back for dog. Okay, inhale, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Okay, this time for a low lunge. Lower your back knee super gently. Point your back foot and turn your right foot at a diagonal to the right. Make sure your right knee points the same direction as your foot. And just like that high lunge, so far as your right knee stays aligned. Bend your elbows and give it a few breaths. for your hips to open. Eventually you can bring your forearms to the floor, so far as that right knee doesn't turn in. Hey, come on up. Step back. Down dog. Second side, inhale. Step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. And lower your back knee gently. Point your back foot. And turn your left foot at a diagonal left. Make sure your knee points the same direction as your foot. And give it a few breaths for your hips to open. You can come onto your forearms so far as your hips stay level, your left knee stays aligned. And that moving your front foot, draw it back to get a hip opener. Okay, come on up. Step back. Down dog. Inhale, come to the balls of your feet. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Step or walk to the front of your mat. Feet straight, lift halfway up, hands to your hips, and come up and stand. Okay, keep your feet hips width apart. Bend your knees deeply. Okay, and you're gonna rest your right shin across your left thigh for a figure four. Okay, take your left hand to the right sole of your foot. Remind your right foot to flex. Okay, so flexing that foot will protect your knee, make it more of a hip opener rather than a knee cranker. And step it down. And second side, weight in the right foot. Rest your left shin across your right thigh for a figure four. Okay, flex the left foot to protect your knee. Okay, bend your right knee deeply, sit heavy, and create a shelf for that left shin. Right, step it down, reach your arms up. Exhale, dive in, touch the floor. You can bend your knees as much as you have to touch. Okay, weight in your right foot, step your left foot way back. Like a lunge, turn both feet towards the wide edge of your mat. Okay, take a wide stance, look at your feet, make sure they're even with one another and straight. Bend your knees enough to touch the floor. Bend your knees enough to clear your back. Okay, so far as you feel, releasing your low back and straighten your legs out and bow down the center. You're gonna lift halfway up, come onto your fingertips. You're gonna shorten your stance a couple inches. And then you're gonna turn your right foot towards the upper left corner of the mat. As you're gonna turn your right foot to the right, towards the corner of the mat, and walk your hands to the right. Okay, sit deeply into that right hip, sit heavy, spin your left heel up towards the ceiling. Swing your right arm to the inside of your right knee, reach your left arm up. It's called Skandasana. If that's all too much, get taller. Okay, second side, so slowly walk your hands to the left. Turn your right foot in at first. Okay, it's gonna give you some stability. Turn your left foot to the left at a diagonal. Bend your left knee, walk your hands to the left. Can you breathe here? Okay, and then option, adjust your stance as you need to sit low. Swoop your left arm to the inside of your left knee, reach your right arm up. Okay, and then you play with the length in your stance. So you sit heavy in your hips and right toes point up. Okay, and hands to the floor. Okay, and slowly turn your left foot in. Turn your right foot to the front edge of the mat. Frame out your right foot with your hands like a lunge. And step back, down dog. Bend your knees enough to lift your back. And right knee forward for pigeon. Right knee to the right edge of your mat. Square your hips. Come onto your forearms. And let your hips sit back and heavy towards the floor. And reach your right hand back for your left foot. For a quad stretch, get taller to reach the foot. If if you need. And then once you've got the foot, you might come back onto your left forearm for a deeper thigh stretch. So far as the weight stays centered on your back thigh, lengthen through both sides of your body evenly. Engage your left foot, tip your hip up towards your heel. Okay, and inhale, gently release, step back, down dog, and switch sides, left knee wide for pigeon. Left knee all the way to the left edge of your mat. Square your hips, come onto your forearms, let your hips sit back and towards the floor. And reach your left hand for your right foot for a thigh stretch. Thigh stretch, get tall if you need. You could come up onto your hand to reach the foot. As you've got your foot, as your quad opens, you can come onto your right forearm, flatten the right thigh more on the floor. Engage your right foot, tip your hip up towards your heel. And gently release, step it back, down dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward, warrior two. Anchor your left heel, come up. For side angle pose, right forearm to your right thigh, left arm by your ear. Turn your chest towards the wall to your left, hips square towards the wall to your left. And touch your right hand to the outside of your right foot to the floor, a block. For the full pose, so far as you could keep your alignment, widen your right knee against your arm, turn your chest open. Hands to the mat, step back. Switch sides, inhale, left foot forward, warrior two. And side angle, left forearm to your left thigh, right arm by your ear. Turn your chest towards the wall to your right, square your hips to the right. You can touch down for the full pose, so much as you could keep that alignment. Left hand to the outside of your left foot to the floor or a block. Spin your chest open, look up. Hands to the mat, step it back. Down dog. And lower down to sit. Swing your legs out in front of you. And lie on your back. For bridge pose, bend your knees, place your feet. Ankles underneath the knees, feet hips width apart. Root your feet down to lift your hips up. Lift your low back up. And clasp your hands underneath you. Arms alongside you, palms spin up. Whichever gives you leverage. To walk your shoulders more up and underneath you. And lower your hips down. Press your hands against the root of your thighs. Take a breath. And draw your knees in. And rock side to side for happy baby. And rock it up to sit and swing your right leg out. Bend your left knee in for Janu Shirsasana. Twist to the right. Reach your left hand for your right foot or leg. Wherever you could reach, so far as you root your right leg down completely. Keep your left hip heavy. So you twist right and bow. Okay, come on up. Second side, left leg out, right knee in. For Janu Shirsasana, twist to the left, reach your right hand for your left foot or leg or whatever you could get. Okay, so far as you root your left leg down, tip weight in your right hip, twist to the left, and fold. Okay, come on back. Bend both knees in, soles of your feet touch. Knees wide, hands behind you. Knees go apart, inner edges of the feet apart. Okay, when your knees go apart, they'll start to go down. Okay, you never want to force them down, think apart. Okay, and then if your knees are even or below your hips, you come forward. Okay, if you go to come forward, if your knees are above your hips, just stay upright and breathe. Right. Hope you enjoyed. My name's Jake. Hope to see you again soon. Namaste.